The Republican Party's culture wars are taking a potentially deadly turn. In Tennessee, a crusade against transgender people has now led the state's Republican governor to refuse $8 million in federal funding for HIV prevention. Four sources in the state health department tell NBC News that the decision to reject the funding, quote, was motivated at least in part by right-wing provocateurs stoking anti-LGBTQ sentiment. Here's how the story goes. Far-right commentators went on rants attacking Vanderbilt University Medical Center over its care of transgender minors in September. By October, the right-wing media turned its attacks on a task force at the Tennessee Health Department that focuses on trans health and HIV prevention. And Tennessee Republican Governor Bill Lee was listening. By November, staffers were told the governor wanted to cut federal HIV funding for the task force and Planned Parenthood in Tennessee by the end of the year. And in January, in an unprecedented escalation, NBC News reports that the governor decided he would, quote, pull the plug not just on federal HIV prevention funds for Planned Parenthood and the task force, which totaled $235,000, but on all $8.3 million from a pair of CDC grants for HIV prevention, treatment, and monitoring in the state. The Lee administration has pledged a shift in funding priorities that would effectively steer HIV prevention efforts away from groups at substantial risk of contracting the virus, end quote. Now, we sometimes talk about the ridiculousness of the culture wars that are being promoted by far-right extremists and conservative commentators. But when they get championed by Republican lawmakers and turned into policy decisions, they can endanger people's lives. Governor Bill Lee's decision will affect testing, early detection, prevention, education, counseling services, and life-saving medication for those who need it. A report by Marketplace focuses on a Tennessee grandmother who went to the emergency room for a broken toe and discovered she had HIV. A grandmother. That's who's being hurt by this conservative hawker circus. Grandmothers getting potentially life-saving diagnoses. And again, this is free money to the state. It cost the state of Tennessee nothing. The article also points out, quote, Memphis is among the top 50 communities nationally for HIV transmission rates. One Tennessee Democrat was so incensed that he demanded that the issue be addressed during a meet and greet at the Tennessee State House Health Committee. Listen to how his Republican colleague responded.
So I'm curious why the first decision as Commissioner of Health was to directly endanger the lives of our Tennesseans.
I told him we'd keep this to a meet and greet. If you can keep your comments to that, please, I'd appreciate that.
Exactly how much money are we turning away in HIV funding from the CDC? What's aggressive about that?
Just stay to meet and greet.
Don't be holding anyone to account now. It's a meet and greet. Joining us now is that Tennessee Democratic State Representative you just saw, John Ray Clemens. He serves on the Health Committee. He's the chairman of the Tennessee House Democratic Caucus. Also with us is Mia Cotton, Chief Programs Officer at Friends for Life in Memphis. Their mission is to prevent the spread of HIV and to help those affected by HIV and AIDS. Thanks to both of you for being here for this important conversation. Representative John Ray Clemens, let me ask you to start with, the questions you were asking are important because it is important for Tennessee taxpayers to understand this is not state money, this is federal money that the state actually said we're not taking. And they said we have slightly different priorities, but now it's going to come out of state funds. This just does not seem like a decision that's in the interest of the overwhelming majority of Tennesseans. Who benefits from this? HIV was a serious epidemic that is not today. Who benefits from removing funding from this sort of work?
Well, I can tell you, yesterday was Groundhog's Day, and here we are another day in another culture war. And in this instance, it's just an example of the GOP playing political games with people's lives. No one benefits from this. In the state of Tennessee, we've turned away billions of dollars. We still haven't expanded Medicaid in Tennessee, which is also federal money that should be flowing into the state to improve people's health care. And now, this decision benefits absolutely no one. And I will tell you, as someone who has watched a loved one suffer and ultimately die from this horrible virus, I find this decision heartless and I find it offensive. And this is just a political game that is risking people's lives.
Mia Cott, let me ask you about the where culture wars. I mean, some people don't even like using the word, but where this becomes a thing that started on sort of in right-wing spaces and now becomes policy that will affect people's lives. This is a report by NBC News. A Daily Wire article published on October 20th took a victory lap, saying that the Lee administration and the state health department denounced the task force in response to a Daily Wire inquiry, and that information about the task force on the department's website was only removed after the Daily Wire asked about it. Around the same time, two health department supervisors told staffers in private conversations that critical media coverage provoked the Lee administration to scrutinize the source of the task force's $10,000 in annual funding, a $6.2 million CDC HIV prevention and surveillance grant to health employees, to department employees said. I mean, this is crazy, right? These things that we know happen, talking about transgender kids and LGBTQ people on right-wing sites, has now become the policy of your state.
Yes, it has. And ultimately, the people who need the services are the ones who are going to suffer. With the loss of this funding from my agency, we will lose roughly close to about $1.7 million collectively, directly and indirectly, as a loss of these funds. And that supports testing, access to PrEP and PEP services, access to care. This is going to affect the marginalized populations of Shelby County, Memphis, where we're hit the hardest, and across the state, as well as CBOs who are doing the work are going to close their doors May 31st if this does indeed happen.
And let me just ask you, Mia, because in 2023, many people have the luxury of saying, is HIV still a thing? Memphis is the third in the nation for new HIV infections. It's first in the nation for AIDS cases. A loss of these funds will maim Shelby County's efforts to curtail the spread of HIV. And just to repeat, this is HIV and Hep C testing, counseling, education, condom access, outreach to medical care, pre-exposure prophylaxis, post-exposure prophylaxis. Like, this is all basic stuff.
It's all basic stuff. It is basic things that people need for preventative services. With us not expanding Medicaid, people have less access to care. The work that the CBOs do across the state is how these folks access these services. You talked about the grandma in the ER who was there about her finger. She actually ended up getting tested by one of these programs. If she had not been there and Nashville Cares had not been there, she wouldn't have known about this diagnosis. And then that leads to more people contracting the disease. We've got to stop the spread of HIV and AIDS, and this just puts a stomp on us, and we're unable to do our work. Our doors will close.
Representative, what are your options? What can happen now?
Well, colleagues and I have introduced legislation to try to reverse this and mandate the acceptance of these funds. You know, she raised a good point. You know, you said we're going to lose $8.3 million in direct funding, but that doesn't even include the 340B savings dollars that all of these organizations who provide this vital treatment will lose access to. I mean, we're talking millions of more dollars that is going to directly result in the endangerment of Tennesseans' lives.
And what power do you have to change this? You're introducing something to do this, but what has to happen for it to succeed? Will you have to get your colleagues across the aisle to recognize that this is bad policy? This is going to end up costing your state in lives and in actual dollars.
Well, it's fiscally irresponsible, you know, but that doesn't always sell with my colleagues across the aisle who, you know, where hypocrisy runs rampant through the Republican ranks. But I'm going to have to appeal to their you know, personal interest and try to pull on their heartstrings. I serve in a super minority. You know, our entire state is plagued by one-party rule with a Republican governor and Republican Senate and a Republican House of Representatives, and I'm in the super minority. So I have no choice but to try to work across the aisle and get this legislation passed for the benefit of Tennessee families. But it will be an uphill battle because this is a culture war that they're waging, and it must stop. You know, at some point we have to place people's lives and make them a higher priority than these political games that they continue to play to try to score these points.
Mia, it's 2023. I'm kind of amazed by the fact that we've stigmatized HIV again. What do you want my viewers to know about your clients?
They're people. They're people just like us. They just have a chronic disease. And with access to these services, It's a chronic disease. You can take your medication, you're fine. If you're undetectable, you're untransmittable. You equals you. That's why we need access to these services. If people know their status, we can get them in care, and then they're not continuing to transmit the virus. That's what I need people to know. They're no different than you and me. There's no change in a person outside when they have HIV. They're humans. And this is about human decency. Let's take care of folks.